Winter arrived like a hammer. What should have been an ordinary post-Thanksgiving weekend across the American Midwest suddenly transformed into one of the most brutal early-season snow events this region has seen in years. As millions of people packed their bags, filled their gas tanks, and headed onto highways or crowded into airports to return home, a powerful winter storm system barreled across the plains and Great Lakes, bringing with it heavy snowfall, fierce winds, and dangerously icy roads. The storm struck primarily between November 29th and November 30th, 2025, affecting enormous areas of Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, parts of Michigan, and sections of the Central Plains. What began as harmless flakes early in the morning rapidly evolved into a fast-moving wall of snow that erased visibility, overwhelmed road crews, and swallowed entire cities under a thick blanket of white. In places like Chicago, snowfall totals smashed local records. O'Hare International Airport registered 8.4 inches of accumulation in a single day, more than 21 centimeters, making it the snowiest November day in the city's recorded history. Northern Iowa saw its own heavy accumulations, with reports of more than 20 centimeters falling within the storm's core. The pace of the snowfall stunned forecasters and city crews alike. As the snow intensified, plows struggled to keep up. Roads salted only minutes earlier became polished sheets of ice. Traffic that normally flowed steadily across the Midwest turned sluggish, then chaotic, and eventually paralyzed. Within the first hours of the storm, authorities across Illinois and Indiana began reporting hundreds of accidents and slide-offs. This all culminated around 10 a.m. local time on November 29th, when one of the most dramatic events of the entire weekend unfolded on Interstate 70 near Terre Haute, Indiana. There, amid rapidly deteriorating conditions, a catastrophic chain reaction crash involving roughly 45 vehicles erupted across the westbound lanes. Cars, SUVs, and semis collided, one after another, as drivers lost control on the slick pavement and visibility collapsed to near zero. The scene that followed was described by emergency personnel as surreal: twisted metal, vehicles stacked and crumpled, trucks jackknifed across lanes, and windshields buried under heavy snow. Authorities shut down I-70 westbound for more than 6 hours as dozens of tow trucks and first responders worked meticulously to clear the wreckage, tend to the injured, and prevent further collisions. Miraculously, despite the magnitude of the crash, no fatalities or life-threatening injuries were reported. Many motorists sustained minor injuries but were treated on site. Still, the psychological impact of suddenly finding oneself inside a massive highway pileup in whiteout conditions left many shaken. Meanwhile, as roads descended into chaos, airports across the Midwest experienced their own version of disaster. Chicago's airports O'Hare and Midway were hit especially hard. Runways inundated with snow, frigid air temperatures, and relentless gusts of wind made takeoffs and landings extremely hazardous. Crews worked tirelessly to dice planes, clear taxiways, and maintain runway safety, but conditions deteriorated faster than teams could respond. Within hours, more than 1,000 flights across the region were canceled, with thousands more delayed. Travelers slept on airport floors, lined up for hours at rebooking counters, and watched the departure boards flash canceled over and over. What should have been the end of a relaxing holiday weekend became a grueling test of patience and endurance. The ripple effect wasn't confined to Chicago. Airports from Minneapolis to Detroit and even cities further east experienced disruptions as connecting flights failed to arrive. By midday, state authorities across Indiana, Iowa, and Illinois issued urgent warnings asking residents to avoid travel entirely. Police departments urged anyone already on the road to slow down, keep headlights on, and increase following distance. But for many, the warnings came too late. In rural parts of Iowa, unplowed roads were swallowed by drifting snow. Motorists found themselves trapped inside their vehicles as temperatures plunged. Emergency calls surged, stretching responders thin. Some counties leaned on volunteers with four-wheel drive trucks to help rescue stranded families, tow vehicles out of ditches, and deliver supplies to residents barricaded by snowdrifts. In the Chicago metropolitan area, state police reported hundreds of weather-related collisions within the first 12 hours alone, a number that continued to rise through the night. School districts across several states announced closures or delays as the morning commute became impossibly dangerous. The storm's intensity did not come out of nowhere. Meteorologists explained that a strong cold front combined with a burst of Arctic air and abundant moisture from the south to create nearly perfect conditions for heavy snowfall. The system pulled in enough cold air to produce rapid-fire snow bands capable of dumping 1 to 2 inches per hour at times. These bursts reduced visibility to almost nothing, creating whiteout conditions that left drivers disoriented and trapped in a world of swirling white. Even experienced plow crews had trouble navigating. Salt trucks that normally prevent ice buildup were rendered ineffective as temperatures sank and snow fell faster than treatment could work. This combination of fast accumulating snow, plunging temperatures, and relentless gusts made for treacherous conditions that worsened by the hour. In many neighborhoods across Iowa and Illinois, residents woke to the sound of howling wind and the sight of cars buried up to their windows. Snowdrifts piled against homes, backyards vanished under layers of thick snow, and sidewalks disappeared entirely. Shovel in hand, many stepped into the icy morning only to discover the snow kept falling. The weight of the accumulation caused tree branches to crack and sag. Power lines froze, though widespread outages were surprisingly limited. Still, the risk of losing electricity and heat hung heavily over communities as temperatures plummeted. For travelers stuck on the road, the situation felt dire. Some drivers ran their engines for warmth but worried about running out of fuel. Others bundled themselves in blankets, waiting anxiously for help. Reports circulated of Good Samaritans offering hot drinks, warm shelter, or rides to stranded motorists. These small acts of kindness provided faint glimmers of hope amid the storm's relentless assault. Tow truck drivers, exhausted and overwhelmed, described the situation as unprecedented for a November storm. Many said the storm behaved more like a mid-January blizzard than an early winter event. As hours passed, officials tracked hundreds of weather-related calls ranging from simple slide-offs to serious collisions. While the 45-vehicle pileup on I-70 became the weekend's most dramatic symbol of the storm's power, it was far from the only major accident. Across Indiana alone, dozens of multi-car crashes occurred on interstates and rural highways as roads iced over. Motorists spoke of losing control even at low speeds, their tires slipping across surfaces slick as glass. In some areas, visibility dropped so sharply that drivers reported being unable to see vehicles just a few meters ahead. The wider effects of the storm were economic as well as personal. With flights grounded and roads impassable, holiday shipments stalled. Trucking operations paused, deliveries were delayed, and businesses reliant on timely cargo faced setbacks. Airports operated in emergency mode as airlines attempted to reorganize routes and reassign crews. The thousands of travelers stranded in terminals represented not just inconvenience, but a national transportation system stretched to its limits by an early winter jolt. Back on the meteorological front, experts emphasized that storms of this intensity, especially so early in the season, could signal a turbulent winter ahead. The pattern of Arctic air surges combined with active moisture systems suggested that the Midwest and Great Lakes could face more storms in the weeks to come. Already, forecasts indicated potential follow-up systems developing in the northern plains. While nothing guaranteed a repeat of this weekend's chaos, the tone from forecasters was cautious. Winter had only begun, and it had already made a dramatic entrance. As snowplows continued their work and road crews labored to restore mobility, communities began assessing the full magnitude of the storm. Businesses reopened slowly, schools adjusted schedules. Airports gradually resumed operations, but for many, the memory of the storm remained vivid. The shock of driving into sudden whiteout conditions, the terror of hearing cars collide in rapid succession on I-70, the helplessness of being trapped on a frozen highway. These experiences lingered on social media. Drivers shared videos of near-zero visibility, footage of cars sliding helplessly across interstates, and images of runways blanketed by snow. Some recounted how quickly conditions shifted from manageable to life-threatening. One moment they could see the road clearly. The next they were engulfed in an impenetrable wall of snow. It was, as many described, like driving blind. Emergency personnel, too, felt the weight of the weekend. Police officers standing for hours in freezing temperatures directing traffic around destroyed vehicles. Paramedics tending to injured motorists in blowing snow. Firefighters navigating treacherous roads. All of them faced extreme conditions that tested their endurance and resolve. Many departments praised their teams publicly. recognizing the extraordinary commitment shown during the storm's peak. Despite the chaos